Hello everybody, welcome to another replay analysis episode. Today we have a 5.8k MMR Protoss player named Highdra with a message something like this. He wants to focus on decision making this game and army engagements. I know this build is kind of out of the meta, but I think that's good as a surprise build. I want to try and perfect this and write down responses, like for example, turtle on 3 bases, go swarm host, do X instead of Y. Going for these kind of responses can be quite tricky. It's more of a notebook approach, I would say, which I'm not the biggest fan of. His opponent is going to be Cham. He's a very good Mexican Zerg. I would say like 6.3, 6.4k MMR, so I would say there's a quite big MMR difference. And we will try to pinpoint some of the mistakes, the crucial plays that Highdra made. He said he's not going to do some kind of a meta build, so I'm looking forward to what this build is going to be. I'm going for the 1 gate expand, which is of course very standard, like your beginning. You don't block the hatchery, which I always do recommend to do, but yeah, it's really a preference. I think we're going for the cyber core. I wonder what this build is going to be. The out of the ordinary one. Meanwhile, the Zerg will be scouting. If you're going to be going for the notebook responsive, if Zerg does X, you go Y, you will be finding yourself vulnerable in that position where the game is not really standard, so I would not recommend going for this kind of approach. But I mean, at least it's good to have somewhat of a plan, but you do need to be flexible. You're starting with a Twilight Council and then an Adept, okay. You confirm the links. The beginning is looking very solid. Twilight Council Soccer. Going to be denying the scouting, which is nice. Robotics facility at around 250. SDT is most likely, right? Because that would be pulling out of the gas if you would be going for glaives. Only 2 units, so the beginning is looking sharp. You keep scouting, which is very nice. You denied the scouting from the Zerg opponent. How much did he see? I mean, he saw 1 stock and he saw the Twilight Council. So he's going to be suspecting either DTs or glaives. Oh, Cham is actually completely skipping metabolic boost, the link speed. An important piece of information, as I accidentally put ourselves forward. There we go. This is the Dark Shrine. Okay, 4 gate. What are you looking at, Highdra? I like your punning. I don't think you can really make it any better. You're doing it a little bit greedy, a single adept, single stalker, but you keep scouting, which is nice. Oh, this is already a good piece of information. I'm not sure if you noticed, but that link had no speed. It's already 420. 420. Oh my god, so funny. Alright, anyway. 419. You scout the link, and it has no speed. That means the Zerg had to invest the gas somewhere. If he's not going for the speed, that means it's most likely faster layer. And you could see a speedless link in here with the warp prism immediately. You're going to be warping 4 DTs at 430, and you're going to be going for the 3rd base immediately. You try to test the waters with the DTs, and I don't really blame you too much. It's good to poke with the DTs, try to find some damage, maybe get a queen if the Zerg is not paying attention. But considering that your opponent scouted the Twilight Council, and he scouted your warp prism with the link, and then the link had no speed, there was no reason to expect some damage. I would immediately transform these DTs into Archons, and then you would be attacking with the DTs, with the Archons, like what, 10-15 seconds faster. So you would be already fighting with these Archons. Meanwhile, well, you're just attacking now. But I know it's just a little bit of piece of information. You could collect it together. In the meantime, you're going for the 3rd base, kind of stop the pro production, and you try to keep harassing with the Archons, which is nice. The Zerg has you completely countered though, and you said it's not the most meta build, but there's a reason why 4K DT is really not meta anymore. It's because Zergs figured out all the build orders, all the timings, and I think just based on the build orders, he's in a very fine spot and very safe spot to drone. I do like your harassment. You keep probing the 3rd base, which is nice, but you actually forgot to create more probes. You kind of deny the creep of the Archons, but you could be doing more with these Archons really. Like you could be poking from this side, from the top side, and then you could be jumping either here with the Archons or here with the Archons. Because if you're just going to be going from the front, it's very easy, to leave like 8 roaches, 11 roaches, and then these Archons are not going to be doing anything. So try to find a position with these Archons that is going to be the most difficult for Zerg, while it doesn't really matter to you, right? If you're going from this side, you can go either here to the main base or here to the third base, and the Zerg cannot simply have 8 roaches here and 8 roaches here because they simply not have enough units. So a little piece of advice for the harassment. You're going for the additional gate, so like 8 gates on 3 bases. I like this. +1, a lot of sentries, immortals, production. I do like this. But you are going to be going for a push. It does look like you stopped for production. You haven't really dealt too much damage to the Zerg. You killed like 10 units, but the economy was not really touched by the Zerg. Did you really scout that much? You're going around to the war prison. Okay, the observer is here with the army to try to deny the crypt. He spotted your army move out with the changeling immediately. But let's see. What is your position actually economically? You are only on 54 drones. The Zerg is already at 73. Third base is not fully saturated, so you are basically all inning here. If that's your if that's your plan from the beginning, sure, so be it. But considering how little damage you actually did with the DT opening with the Archons, I would not be all-inning the Zerg, because the Zerg got what he wanted, right? He didn't take too much losses. He completely countered your build, so he's free to have as many drones as possible at that time, as well as skipping the expensive tech of link speed in the early game and not having any links to harass you. So he would have a pretty big amount of roaches. Let's see how this engagement is going to be looking like. Going pretty much front with the zealots. You do have a prism. I really wouldn't mind if you're going for this kind of all-in. It's maybe better to split maybe 4 zealots, split some of the attention of the Zerg, you know? Like if you have 10 zealots here or 6 zealots, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. But if you're going to be attacking from the front, like in an all-in fashion, kind of, it's okay to have a full army. But you can also divide the Zerg attention. If you could be sending a couple of zealots from this side, he would have to split some of his army to the north, and then maybe you would have, you know, better forces. That could work in this favor. You have a lot of money in the back. You keep working with the 8 adepts. Not bad of a micro, but he really does have a crucial amount of army, and you keep moving forward, and it looks like you're about to break him, but the economy of the Zerg was really, really good from the beginning, and now you have really no micro potential of your army. You have to retreat, But look, oh, look at your money. Look at your money. During the game, okay, you're going to be warping in here, 8, and look, at 740, you have 150 minerals, that could be already immediately queuing up 3 probes. But you're focused on the engagement, of course, we're not going to be, you know, nitpicking about a couple of seconds. But 740 was the time. The money keeps going up. You're not starting +2, you're not starting pro production. 20 seconds already passed. Immortal in production just now, 8, 10. 30 seconds of a difference, where you could be starting something. I know you're waiting for the additional warpins and so on, but at the moment that you have to retreat, you're like, oh, I cannot break him. I cannot break him. So you go for the pro production in the meantime, and you should be starting +2 immediately. You try to keep you keep trying breaking him, I'm sorry. But his army is going to be simply too strong. There's barely any creeps actually from the Zerg. You dealt very well about denying, but I really think these kind of all-ins on 3 bases were good some time ago. It's very common to go for this kind of push, and I really think there is no reason to put yourself in an all-in situation. The beginning really didn't go that much in your favor, so all-inning is, you know, an option, but it's not necessary. Especially since your main base is going to be running out at around the 7th minute mark, so you could be sending this probes to the third base and then have the gases saturated. You've been floating a lot of the gas in the meantime, and that could be used as well for the storm for the Archons. Another mistake that I noticed here is that you're sending the War Prison to counter harass while the Zerg is possibly going to counter attack you after he deflected your attack. And you have absolutely no static defense at your third. So the only defensive option or defensive advantage that you had is the War Prison to pick up the important Immortals, important Archons and so on to save these units. You have no defensive advantage in here. No battery, no cannon. So the counter-attack of the Zerg is going to be the easiest situation to attack for the Zerg as it possibly is, because you cannot really save these units. You have no force fields, no storm. So it was a very greedy situation for you to leave this War Prism, leave with this War Prism to counterattack, while not leaving anything at home to defend. And Zerg will be trading very efficiently in this position. I think the game has really ended the moment that you had to retreat and you were not probing behind it. Because while you dealt quite okay in the army department, you like pushed the Zerg back, you didn't kill the 4th base, and the drone count was not touched, while you didn't have a fully saturated 3rd base. If your 3rd base would be completely saturated with the gases and so on, then you would be at least on an equal economy as the Zerg, right? 3 bases versus 3 base. Road Ravager is not, you know, the most cost-efficient army composition, so you could be maybe trading better with the Immortals and so on. But because you didn't have this kind of economy, you were simply behind in economy and the army production that comes after that. In this situation, you're already so far behind that the Zerg is already finished on Hive. He has Lurker Tech. He's going for the 5th base, and right now you cannot really even think of taking a 4th base. Your +2 is going to be finishing, which is nice. You have Storm, but the Zerg army is really, really scared. He has Vipers out full of energy to deal with your army. And your army really mainly consists of Zealots. And the Immortals and Archon count is good, but this is a good army like, you know, 3 minutes ago. To be honest, you could have had this army with a 4th base if you actually macroed properly. It all comes down to not having the probe production resuming while you were attacking. And the opening really didn't deal that much damage, as stated before. Still, this army is quite scary. If controlled properly, this is a game-ending army in the end, of course. However, it's going to be difficult since Zerg kind of has the counter to it already. They have Lurkers and Vipers in not very good numbers, but it does feel like after you spotted this army in the north base, maybe you could have, you know, just do the Protoss thing, just A move, you know, go forward, because you don't have a 4th base up and running, you just started it now, and you saw a significant portion of the Zerg army on the north with your harassment zealots. So the worst thing you can do is like, well, I will lose if the entire army is together, but if half of the army is not there, then maybe I can trade efficiently. 2 Vipers, 3 Lurkers, that's 6 Immortals, 4 Archons, and lots of Storm. Maybe you could have smashed this army. You're going forward. This goes very well for you. Blinding Clouds kind of put you back, and you don't cancel the 4th base. The Zealots at the front. I would definitely just seize the opportunity in here. I would just keep going, because the Zerg already has the Hive tech. Did you even spot the Hive? Well, I mean, he has Vipers, so you know, you should have known about the Hive. So you have no further tech in going your way. You don't have carriers, you don't have disruptors. 4th base is not done. I would simply go for it. After you kind of like spotted this army out of position, that was the best opportunity for you. And right now, you gave the Zerg enough time to outmaneuver you, and you are in position where it doesn't matter. Like you cannot you can defend the 4th, but you cannot defend this because you have not split your army at all. You had a very good position to find some kind of damage, trade efficiently in this position, but right now Zerg has simply outmaneuvered you, and he's attacking your 4th and 3rd at the same time, with Vipers and Roaches flanking. Once the Zerg finds position with Lurkers, it's really, really difficult to break. You need to be a step ahead of the Zerg. You cannot let them have this position. So you need to have some kind of army prepared in here, or like some kind of spotters. You had a very strong army, you could have possibly, you know, slowed down, but it's really like, Zerg has already the most important upgrades. They have the range upgrades, and I think he already finished the adaptive talents, which is the speed for the Lurkers, for the Burrow. So it's really almost impossible for you to be in position in all places, because you were lacking vision as well. And now, yeah, he's just pincering you, and you can see this army, as strong as it is versus Lurkers, there's just not enough position to flank the Zerg and trade cost efficiently. The Zerg still has like 5k in the bank. So while this game, I think this game was very good, I will not say perfect, but very good, up until you decided to like all in on the 3 bases on +1, after you didn't deal significant damage with the DTs. If the DTs killed some drones, maybe you killed a couple of queens, the Zerg pulled some of the drones with the middle line, then maybe your attack would be much stronger because the Zerg would be simply weaker, you dealt some damage. But because Zerg defended very comfortably, he lost a couple of, I don't know, Overlords, Creep Tumor, and maybe a couple of links and so on, nothing significant, the Zerg really wasn't set back. So your attack was not going to be any stronger than a normal attack. So might as well just focus on the economy. And another big mistake is, again, disengagement in here with the Vipers, where you had an opportunity to find an engagement in your favor, but you didn't do it. Overall, I really don't think it was a bad game, but it felt like it was a game of a much difference, a bigger skill difference level overall. I think Cham is a fantastic player, and you are an up-and-comer. 5.8 is not bad, but it's not quite 6.4. It was a good game overall, not gonna lie. There's some potential if you focus on the economy and on the right priorities. Like, if I cannot break him, start pro production. If I'm all inning, and you know, it's better to retreat, because if the attack is not going to work, might as well just retreat, or you know, at least posture around, not necessarily commit to an attack. Maybe find a couple of free roaches and Creep Tumors, but do focus on the economy at the same time, because you definitely could. There was no counter harassment from the Zerg opponent and anything like that. So just little tiny mistakes that really cost you this game. I hope I helped you with this replay analysis, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you maybe on the next one. Take care, guys. Bye bye.